Hi, everyone, and welcome to every episode of VeggieTales Reviewed. I'm that media guy, and I'm here to answer your questions about the quality of talking Christian vegetable television. Today, we have the subject of Episode 4 Rack, Shack, and Ben. Wait a minute. Didn't I already review this episode? Well, yes, I did back in August of 2023. So why am I back on the Rack Shack and Benny set in May of 2024? Well, to be fair, this doesn't appear to be exactly the same set as before. This set definitely looks very similar, but appears to be in much higher fidelity. The lighting is better, the textures are improved, and it just looks much more lively overall than the old set. I gotta say, I'm a fan. And apparently, I'm not the only one. For, you see, this is all done by the work of a fan animation team that wanted to reanimate the entire show from nearly 30 years ago and put it up on YouTube for free for all of us to enjoy. And that is special on so many levels that I don't even know what to say. I mean, I will eventually figure something out, considering that, you are watching this video right now. But I will say right now that one thing that I will not talk about is the plot and characters, as that is pretty much entirely unchanged from the original animation, and my original review goes into enough detail about those. All of the changes done here are to the presentation, and boy did this episode get one heck of an upgrade. When watching the original episode, it can feel like it takes place in a void at times. I didn't really critique that in my original review, considering that the video first came out on VHS tapes less than 1 week after Toy Story hit theaters, but it is definitely the aspect of the original episode that is aged the worst. This remake adds so much visual flair that it almost makes it feel like an entirely new show. This is no longer a CG void, but a developed Western-style civilization with a factory design and costumes that really fit the new mold. See what I did there? The factory design is also much more fleshed out, with many warehouse-style shelving units and spacious office spaces for the company executives. Even Junior's lullaby, which isn't even a minute long, got a complete makeover in a way that makes it fit in with the style of the rest of the episode. And that's not even mentioning the character models. It is so clear that this team has so much love and respect for the source material when crafting these beautiful pieces of art. No offense to the people at DreamWorks who designed the Netflix models, I am sure that those individuals are very talented, but these models evoke the magic that the original models did 3 decades ago while still looking appealing for the modern age. And they even added some animation touches that left me completely in awe. Seriously, Junior Asparagus toe taps. He toe taps in this episode. You should have seen my face when I saw that. Is this how Phil Vischer felt when he saw Mr. Nezzer shrug his shoulders in The Toy That Saved Christmas? That just added to the stand music number feeling even more special. Speaking of which, while the character audio is ripped straight from the original, the music got completely revamped here. Not only is there more prevalent background music that uses leitmotifs from the other songs in the episode, but the instrumentations for all of the songs that you know and love have been completely redone for this episode. That is going above and beyond to a level that I never thought I would see for something like this. And honestly, I don't want to talk about much more beyond that. I'm sure that this will end up being a much shorter review than what I normally post, but one, I already covered a lot of what I would say about this in my original review, and two, I just don't want to give away any more of the finer details of this production. You should all just go watch it, considering that it is on the very same platform and available to watch for free no less. My words alone seriously cannot do this fan animation the justice that it deserves, and the work of those at Gord Animations cannot be commended enough for this wonderful experience. And yet, before I go, I have one question to pose that I wish to discuss for the rest of the video. With the animation being completely redone to fit in with the animations made in the current day that are created with vastly improved technology from 30 years ago, does that mean that this animation replaces the original? Well, even as someone who has a full shopping cart load of nostalgia for the original animation, I would still have to say that my answer is a very clear negative on that. For one thing, there are enough differences between the two productions to make them both entirely separate but equally valid viewing experiences, especially considering that just because something is different doesn't mean that it's better, and the chief example of this would be the music. To make a video game analogy, the difference between the original music and the new music is just like, to me at least, the difference in the original music for Sonic Colors and the new remixes for Sonic Colors Ultimate. The original music pieces were already absolutely incredible, so when the new works add more to them, they definitely stand out as something fresh and unique, but not necessarily in a way that makes them feel improved, even if they don't necessarily detract from the originals either. You can't fix what isn't broken, is what I am trying to say. And while the visuals got a major overhaul to bring them up to 2024 CG animation standards, there was very little lacking originally in the music department. However, that's not to say that there aren't any aspects where the original bests this new animation. I do want to say right now that I don't really want to criticize this animation too much because, as mentioned before, the fan animators are not charging us for this. They are not doing this for the money, but are instead doing it out of the love of the craft and the adoration of the source material. That certainly does not excuse it from criticism, don't get me wrong, but I just believe that criticizing companies that do take your money in exchange for goods and services is a more worthwhile use of your time. So, what would be my chief criticism here? Well, simply put, it's the facial expressions. Now, admittedly, this is another area where the original left very little room for improvement, considering that VeggieTales was a CG trailblazer in that regard, and I would say that most of said expressions are improved upon here. However, there are several moments in this episode that lacked the over-the-top expressions that gave the original video that extra oomph that really made it stand out from the crowd in a positive way. It's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but it does tarnish some jokes and even some dramatic moments for me. Now, with that said, there are extra beats added here that had me laughing pretty hard, and overall, this fan-made work of art had me grinning from ear to ear, so don't take my criticisms as anything damning. I'm just saying that, while I wholeheartedly recommend this animation to anyone, I wouldn't do so over the original, and I think that even the creators of this would feel the exact same way. Instead, I would recommend it alongside the original as a great companion piece. Unlike Sonic Colors, which has the issue of the original and remake being spread across different platforms, the original version and new version of this animation classic are available to watch right now on this very platform. In fact, I would recommend watching the original first and then go straight into watching this new version to observe and admire everything that was changed to your liking, and there is so very much to like here. Again, I know this video is shorter than my other videos, and I did consider not even making a video about this at all and instead simply making a community post about this, but this topic is so special that I decided that it deserved a fully scripted and edited video all to itself. So, with that said, thank you so much for watching, click the red button to subscribe, and have a fantastic rest of your day doing whatever. Preferably watching this at some point.